Okay, guys, welcome to Let's Talk. Okay, so today we're here with
Thema
and
Khaled.
welcome, guys. You're not gonna say a bit like about what you do, a bit of
I'm a
introduction.
student, I do sports as well, and I'm a part of Babbasa TV.
Yeah.
I'm in college, studying biology, psychology, and sociology.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, cool. So, just before we start, I'd like to say thank you to UWE for collaborating with us today. And this episode is all about stereotypes. So, about how does it affect us? What do you think about it in different platforms like the media, blah, blah, blah. So, we're going to start off with a little pop culture debate. So, I just wanted to know, what do you guys think about the movie White Chick? What do you think about it, Taylor?
You know what? We've had this conversation before. It's a sticky one. That's the one that's a bit of a sticky one still, because there's some things that it's funny, it's comedy. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, when stereotypes are brought into like comedy, okay, that's really the question. I don't know. Khaled, what do you think?
Exactly what you said. Actually, I do think that a lot of people would say that as us as Black people, we wouldn't like stereotypes being portrayed about us, even in comedy. I know a lot of other Black people that would not appreciate it. But when it comes off the other way, when it's like reversed onto white people, we just laugh, you know? However, I do think it's not always at the same scale.
Yeah, it's not.
100.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Like White Chick is a funny movie.
It is funny.
It has a lot of stereotypes. It's literally stereotypes
Everywhere. Like even like say for the Black woman, the main guy, I forgot his name, but his wife, and like she thought she was cheating, he was cheating. And it was showing like that stereotypical Black woman.
Black woman, yeah.
Do you remember the part at the end where she was trying to fight her?
Literally.
But it was a man, didn't it? And she's like,
stereotypes. Like whole stereotypes, even like Tom Cruise, like the guy that he plays, he loved white women. It kind of like it's pushing that stereotype as well. But as you said, the joke is that he's actually falling in love with a black man.
Yeah, so that's the joke.
It's just, I don't know. And I don't know about Black men like having to dress up as a woman for comedy all the time, like say Big Mama, Medea.
There's something about it that people find funny.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's because the characters that they play.
Yeah, but it's stereotypical. It's a stereotypical Black woman, and it's just mocking us, to be honest.
To be honest, it's like what, like Big Mama and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's a and it's just to get laughs, to be honest.
I get that. Like the worst one is Norbit, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's
my god.
Like we're laughing, but
that movie's so funny though.
It's funny, but it's so bad. It's so bad.
But if you look at that movie, he'd be playing every character.
Yeah, he is.
He's every character, for real.
He is playing every character.
He's even a bit controversial, and he's playing the Asian character.
Yeah, true.
Very controversial, actually.
Yeah. Even remember you said Simpsons, like it's not.
That was weird.
All of the people are like, it's probably like played by white people's voices.
Yeah, like the Indian man.
Yeah.
He is played by a white voice actor.
Literally.
Very weird.
Weird.
So yeah. What do you?
I haven't seen those movies, I can't lie, but I have watched that. Like you said, it's a mockery, right?
Yeah.
For the white chicks, and so that's also a mockery. But ultimately, I don't think stereotypes should be portrayed in comedy anyway, because children can perpetuate it at young ages.
That's true.
You can see it all around schools, outside. People may look at you as, of course, that's what stereotypes are like. People portray it as a certain way, but with it being portrayed in the media, and especially in comedy, people will look at it as like a little factor. But for people, for real life scenarios, it can really detriment people. You know?
Yeah. Especially like say Big Mama, people watch that from young, and Medea, people watch that from young. So when you're growing up with that sort of idea of a Black woman, would it really be? It wouldn't be positive, would it? Not all of it would be positive.
Right.
So it can mold a child like their thoughts towards me. I don't even like that. So.
I remember what Pravani said earlier about how you remember you're saying to dress up as a woman. But she said it was more about disrespecting black women to get into Hollywood. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Because I feel like it's just for a laugh, but I'm a black woman and I have to live. You can take off your mask, you can take off your breast, but I have to live. I'm a black
Okay.
black woman. You have to live with that and what people are gonna think about me.
That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's real life, to be honest. That's why I don't think it should be portrayed in the media as much as it is right now. People look at it like a little joke. But it's not a joke, you know? Like, I just think that we're all individuals, so I'd much rather people portray me as just Khaled rather than just a black boy or a Muslim boy. I'd much rather than portray me. But then again, they don't know me.
Yeah.
So what they think of me is what they see in media.
Literally.
Right? So in both ways, it doesn't really benefit us whatsoever.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. So let's start the discussion. So the topic is about have you guys ever been stereotyped before, and how did this go down?
Yes. So, so I was in school, right? And I was called a terrorist. And I remember it was just very bizarre to me because I wasn't really practicing Islam publicly, of course. It would be, of course, in my private life. But just based off how I look, he just instantly had the assumption in his head, thinking that, okay, he's a Muslim, and just bust out, oh, you're a terrorist, blah, blah, blah. Because I just was the thing I didn't have.
And even ties into people playing jokes in the media.
Yes.
So people think it's okay to make that sort of jokes in school.
Exactly. But way before that incident, I remember a friend of mine, I think back in year 7 or year 8, asked me, like, Khaled, are you Muslim? And I think around this time was when, you know, that the attack in Paris happened. He asked me that. And I said, yeah. And of course, I was very innocent. I didn't think much of the question. But when I think about it now, his reaction to me saying, yes, I'm Muslim, was very much like he was cut off. He backed away from me. And just went, oh.
Wow.
I was very, at the time, I didn't really clock it, you know? But even back then, it was bizarre at first, but I didn't deep as much as I am right now, you know?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it was just very weird how they could portray me or just see me as, let's say, oh no, that's a Muslim boy, he might bomb the school or something of that sort.
Yeah.
So stereotypes can definitely affect your social life, especially.
Yeah, once I've been stereotyped as being aggressive, being loud, being defensive, being a shoplifter, like everything, like literally, I go into a shop, follow me around, like I just feel uncomfortable, like I can't even just do my day-to-day tasks without people watching me, you know, and it's just sad, to be honest.
100. Like, do you remember that? Literally, was it this week when we went to Sainsbury's?
Oh yes.
Mercy. So guy following us around. It's like he's standing by the door, yeah. So he's standing by the door. That's his post, innit? But as soon as we came in, he's like, nah. He's gonna follow us in every. Just following us.
And he said it was a black man.
Yeah, and that's what makes it weird. Like the stereotype's so ingrained in us that even him as a black man is gonna look at black people and be like, maybe they're suspicious. So that means he sees himself as suspicious.
It was just so weird because I'm sure the cameras are there, right? You know, where you can see yourself on the cameras, the big screen. I'm sure he saw us on there doing nothing but just, I guess, looking at the items.
Yeah.
But what made it even worse is that even when he walked past us, maybe 20 seconds later, I'm seeing him near the checkout, and he's still looking at us, making it so blatantly obvious. And I'm facing this way, right? And he's over there. And he's making it known that he's looking at us. It's just so off-putting. Just so weird. Especially him as a black man.
Yeah. It makes you so uncomfortable. It's like,
Be your own people.
Yeah. Ring, guys.
But be your own people sometimes.
Huh?
Be your own people.
Literally, also like as a black person, I feel like we're very passionate about the things that we love, like the things that we like. If you want to talk about something, very outspoken people, like we don't take stupidness. So I feel like when I am passionate about something, people could take it as being aggressive, and it's the worst thing ever. Like I'll be talking to each other, like but like calm down. I'm like, calm down.
No, especially when this is when it gets to certain situations. Like say there's an argument or disagreement, that's the worst, because you could literally just be speaking and they'll be like, when it comes down to it, they're like, she was in my face, she was being aggressive, her hands were everywhere. Like, please.
It actually happened to me in secondary school. Like I had my DT teacher, and a lot of the time he would say, okay, you're being quite rude at the moment, and I promise you, I would speak at such a low tone, being so like subtle with what I'm saying, and it would be still portrayed as rudeness. And I didn't really understand it at the time. I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah.
But when I just think about, like, I was thinking about maybe just yesterday, I was just thinking, oh no, he was lying. He just wanted me to get out of class,
literally,
and speak to the principal or something. But never was I'm not an aggressive person anyway.
Yeah.
But again, it comes with the stereotypes. They will just see you that way just because you're of a certain ethnic background.
Yeah.
But never.
Very weird.
Do you ever get when you're like talking to your friends, you guys are having a discussion, and then the teacher will think that there's an argument or telling you to like calm down when we're literally just expressing our opinions and our points of views, and they see it as a problem? I don't understand.
It's just weird, bro.
It's weird.
Guys, let's answer our question that we got put in. So it says, there's some on courses young, drinking and partying when we're studying at uni. What do you think about that stereotype?
Like young people drink.
So like young people going to uni, they're just smoking, drinking.
No, that's not true.
I never heard that before. I'm not gonna lie.
What? I feel like everyone
Uni,
thinks
like
that uni.
partying.
But I do. To be honest, it's a big part of uni. Like first year, everyone talks about it.
True.
Going to party.
People have the uni experience.
But that's not everyone.
That's not
I mean,
everyone.
not everyone's going to go to party.
Especially right now during coronavirus, people are just in their yard like,
Yeah.
up.
Right now, like
right
it's
now.
the worst time to
The
get to
worst
party.
time.
It's literally.
Literally.
Here's someone else says, why do people find it so hard to accept the reality of a stereotype once it's proven wrong? For example, being both Jamaican and English, I've had to deal with other people's expectation for me to be the stereotype of a sassy, angry black girl.
Yeah.
Or a light.
Oh.
I feel like people want the stereotype to be true so
Yeah,
bad that
do.
they don't even care how you act like that.
Relax.
They just want it to be. I don't understand that. I don't even understand that.
Me too.
And when you prove them wrong, it's like they don't want to accept
They
it.
don't want to accept it. They're mad that I'm not feeding into a stereotype.
Or you're a
that's not even true.
special one.
Yes.
Or something like that. It's very weird.
Yeah, like I remember having this conversation with this one biracial boy, and he did say something along the lines like, again, terrorism, Muslims are terrorists, and he picked up this one line off the Quran or something, and it was a line of saying kill non-believers or something along those lines. I haven't read the Quran so deeply, but once I proved him wrong, explaining that kill those that are opposing your views, but also showing such aggression and violence towards you, right? Of course, if they attack first. But he was still very forceful on the idea really all Muslims are terrorists and that's all our intentions are. And even once proving him otherwise, he wasn't had that conversation that we all are terrorists. And for some reason they just can't comprehend that these stereotypes are not true, because stereotypes are just based off generalizations.
Exactly.
They're not all true.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Like he's not even Muslim and he's trying to tell you about being Muslim. Like what?
I even asked, like, have you read the Quran? No.
You've probably seen that on a blog or something.
I was just gonna say, like, he saw on Google.
Literally.
And plus, Google translations of the Quran are not always true because it's a whole other language. There's many different dialects of the Arabic. So it was just very funny to me because him also being a minority. It's like, why can't also put each other?
It's just weird.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just weird.
Do you guys feel like stereotypes is a way of like segregating people?
Yeah.
And like separating people?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with our community.
Yeah.
I think, especially with ethnic minorities, we all look at each other like, for the most part, people look at black people as just crazy people, right?
Also, I've had this said to my face, like black men have said to me, "Oh, I could never go with a black girl, dancing girl, because she's aggressive.
Not even
She's gonna be so hard headed. Like I could never handle her or do anything with a black girl." I'm like,
This is the weirdest
you're a
thing.
black man, and you're saying this to my face, and I'm a black woman.
Because your mother is a black
It's
woman.
a stereotype.
And
Like,
it's like,
all
why-
aggressive, defensive, but it's
Yeah.
not true.
They just feel like they feel like black women can't be feminine or they cannot submit.
Literally.
Exactly.
Or it's not even they'll be like, okay, black women are sexualized. I feel like we're sexualized. It's not. It's like we can't be feminine. We're just sexual.
Like people wouldn't see like a long term thing in that way
Literally,
because
yeah.
of that. Because of that.
Yeah.
But like I see the commentary video talking about this topic, and they're saying like a lot of it's a self-hating thing, but it's
Yeah.
also linked to people's mothers
Mhm.
because you know how like a mother is the one to tell you what to do,
Yeah.
all of that, and they've grown up with their mother doing that, so now they dislike black women, which is weird. It's like
That's weird.
no one's trying
You
to
know
be your
the
mom.
relationship with your mom, though. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Your mom's your mom.
Let's read another comment. I also find that the names are always used as a stereotype creation. Why is having a name that is not a disadvantage? How do we break those barriers?
Of course, like my name Tima, Thelma, and it's like it's come to the point I have 2 out of my 4 teachers. 2 teachers are not saying my name correctly.
Really?
About 3, count like RPE, they don't say my name correctly. I can't be asked anymore. Like I literally be like, oh yes, Tima, Thema, Tima, Thema. I just like okay, I just leave it. And it's like at least like that's something that's like the thing that defines me, like my name. If you can't even get my name right, you have no for me as a person. Like what?
So
Sometimes they'll do it for the fun of it as well.
Yes.
Like, I remember in secondary school, people would intentionally just say my name incorrectly, and it's so straightforward. You see DJ Khaled, you can say his name. You see Khalid, you can say his name correctly. But for some reason, especially for ethnic minorities, some natives to this country, they would want to. That's a generalization, I shouldn't say that. But they would want to purposely just say your name incorrectly just for the fun of it, because it really isn't.
Yeah, like,
it's not funny. Like, why did you find that funny?
I know,
It's
like
really not.
African names, like what people feel uncomfortable with in the register when the teacher says the African name, because like people be laughing in the class and stuff.
Oh, yeah, they'll do
And
the
then they'll
accent
like
as well.
butcher it. And,
They'll
like,
do that with the accent.
literally,
as
like
See, it's
just
not even like
horrible.
the fact that they got it wrong, it's the way they're going about it. Like, say some teachers, they'll be like, okay, they say before they start the register, I'm sorry if I get your name wrong, I'm not doing it on purpose or whatever. Or they privately go to the person, oh, I'm sorry I got your name wrong. Or it's when they're like trying to say it out, like, Tima, Dama. Oh, I can't say. That's what makes it disrespectful.
Yeah, just be like, okay, Dama, if I said this, did I say it right? I'll just correct you, Tima, get it right. Then just
and it's done.
hopefully
Just
get it right
remember
every single time. Yeah, it's done. Like you should know my name now.
Exactly. Very strange.
It's like you should put in the effort. Like that's my name. Like that's something very important. I feel like people don't really think it's important, but I feel like to me it is.
It is important.
Yeah, that's your identity.
Yeah.
All right, another question says, my experience of stereotyping never happened in education, but always outside of it. Kaisha, you're spot on. I've had people that had similar expectations of Turkish Indian heritage and get stereotyped all the time. If anything, it did empower me to study. So the stereotyping of to study. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Like the stereotypes have always been negative. So it's like it's a thing where okay, do I really want to come to this lesson when the teacher's on my case 24/7 for no reason? Like I feel like it demotivates me. Like the teacher has no faith in me. This teacher's on my case 24/7. The teacher's shouting at me, embarrassing me in front of the class. Do I really want to give this teacher the time of day? Like no, that's just for me.
What do you think?
I mean, education for me, I think it pushed me as well.
It pushed you.
I mean, to a certain extent, there'll be some lessons that I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Me knowing myself, I know I'm not going to do well in this certain lesson. I wouldn't bother. But for the other lessons that I feel like I could still push through, and they would still throw, let's say, oh no, Kazan, you're doing good here. I still think that they would want me to fail
Yeah, so you're gonna prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just
Yeah.
like try proving it to myself ultimately as well. And I can do it, and I passed.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I guess in some lessons, I feel like when some lessons from the teachers were more like enthusiastic towards me, I would do better.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it's supposed to be anyway.
Like,
Teachers
yeah.
are supposed to be
Yeah,
support,
100.
you know?
Like, it's weird that they try to put certain people
Yeah.
down. It's very strange. So someone else says, I feel like, no, I always feel like, get me a room, look, and you will be glad you did. It's challenging and empowering. However, it would be great to be in a society that doesn't have "you are what I was expecting" looks and statements. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it would be a lovely place where stereotypes didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to go into somewhere new knowing that people already have preconceived conceptions of you and they're all negative. So yeah.
So it's like just from looking at someone, you already have a character in your head. It is weird, but I feel like everyone has a character.
Yeah,
As soon as they look at someone, it's natural.
Yeah, it's natural. I don't.
It depends on what you do.
Yeah, 100%. If it's set in stone, you're like this person's like this because they look like this, and if they're different, then I don't know. I'm still gonna believe this. Then that's wrong.
It's like what you said earlier, that we're all individuals. Like,
Literally.
having a group of
Yeah,
people
I don't
just.
think people will ever think like that, to be honest. Like, look at our society today.
Mm.
The past literally makes the present. I
Mm.
didn't think it would change anytime soon. Like, that would be a nice society.
Mhm.
Just imagine that. That would be
Yeah.
so cool. But I don't know anytime come back what never came. But I don't think it will ever come around anytime soon.
Yeah.
But do you feel like there's been progress, or do you feel like?
Do you think we these narratives on themselves?
Oh.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like we spoke about the sexualization of black women, like
a lot of
maybe
people-
Cardi B, Nicki Minaj.
They use that to their advantage in a way,
Yeah.
but it's also quite damaging.
It's
Yeah,
damaging for
I
other
agree.
black women.
Mm.
Yeah, because I do feel like, for the most part, we have to present ourselves a certain way to beat those stereotypes and just to finally cut them off.
Not all the time.
You think so?
Not all the time. Like watermelon, that's so random. Like,
Oh, no, yeah, of course, yeah. Of course.
like rape, like black
Of
men
course.
rape. Like
Yeah,
what?
Well,
Yeah,
like
I know.
Come on now, like
Like what? And remember I was telling you about the Netflix show, and I was talking about how America literally made up the whole stereotype in a movie that was like the first color, like the first. I don't know what it was called.
The
But it was
first
like,
movie, basically.
yeah, it was like a big movie pushed by America. Like it was everywhere, the biggest movie.
I need to
And
watch
they were
that
talking
still.
about how black women are rapists. Like this is like after the slavery was abolished in slavery was abolished in America.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was talking about how black men were rapists, but it's like they flipped the script because they were the people like at that time who were the rapists and who were raping black women. You know what I mean? So it's like they flipped the script because they were and like the ad that they made black people look animalistic, made them look stupid, and I feel like that's literally what grew America. Like imagine that's what the stereotypes of black people were grown like. It's no wonder it's so racist there.
Exactly. That's actually crazy to think about, that they actually sat down and thought about this.
Thought about this, yeah.
And it's still carrying on to this day. Like, it's
To
actually
this day.
crazy to this day. Alright guys, it's awful to think how people connect their stereotypes in sort of binary ways. With the whole pandemic, I was experiencing high levels of anxiety at the beginning because of people's assumptions that all Asians cause COVID. I can really relate.
Yeah, literally.
That was terrible.
That was horrible.
I actually would see my friends acting out in
Literally.
front of these. They would assume every other Asian from East Side Asia would be from China or something.
Exactly.
But the weirdest thing about it is that I'm friends with a lot of black people, right? I'm friends with those who are Muslim community. Seeing them act in a way that others would act towards us would put me off so much, because you being in the situation that they're in right now, it's like, why would you want to perpetuate that when you experienced it firsthand?
So, literally.
It was so weird.
If anything, they should be more understanding than tell me.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll see my friends move from the
other side.
Yeah.
I've seen that so much.
I've seen that so much.
It's so
people be
stupid.
laughing and stuff like,
Yeah.
what?
they're like really dehumanizing these people. Like imagine how you feel in that
That happens
situation.
to us. That happens to us. So why would you want to do
all the
that?
time?
And that was really pushed in the media, you know, Trump, the whole Chinese
Like
virus.
Chinese virus, yeah.
That is stupid.
That's crazy.
It's sad. So sad, especially for your own people. It's like, what?
Like, relax. Like, if that, when it's you in that situation, you don't like it. So you
I
should
would
know
agree
how
with
it
that.
feels.
Yeah.
Right.
You should know how it feels and not push it onto other people.
100%.
Okay. With darker skinned people, I think it comes to the unconscious bias that black equals aggressive, despite people seeing that it isn't the cause.
Yeah.
I don't know what people would.
So the darker you are, the more
Yeah, the
aggressive
more
you are.
aggressive you are.
Very weird. Like, I don't know. I think it links back to what you were saying again about the individual thing. Like,
Yeah.
you
You
can't
know,
just.
people really do associate like skin complexion
Mm.
towards like personality traits. Like I've heard light skinned boys are more feminine, dark skinned boys are more rough,
Yeah.
dark skinned girls are more aggressive,
Yeah.
light skinned girls are more soft.
Like more feminine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very weird how we're associating skin complexions.
And I feel like the aggressive part comes to the whole like the strong black woman stereotype. Like being a strong black woman, you have to defend yourself, you know. And I feel like that kind of like leads into the stereotype of aggressiveness. You know,
Exactly.
because you have to defend yourself because you're independent. Yeah.
Like nothing's wrong with being independent, and it's weird that that intimidates people.
Yeah.
And they see that as aggressive. Like that's very strange. It's so tiring when people say your name wrong or ask you if you have a nickname because your name is too hard to say. That one.
Call me by my name.
I see that all the time.
Literally.
Like, you have a nickname?
Yeah, literally. Like they'll just do JJ.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
Just call me. You're like, just call me T.
Just call me T.
I'm sick of this. Yeah, it's very weird.
My name's Tima, like Tima, not hard.
Exactly. Like.
Crazy.
That's not even a hard one.
I know.
That's not even hard.
I know.
Like it's very easy to remember as well.
It's
Very
like,
weird. I fully agree. I understand my name is unconventional, but all you have to do is listen to me pronounce my name. Literally.
Literally.
Like I feel like
Give me the
they don't even
respect.
try to remember.
They try. They'll be like every single lesson, Thema. Every single lesson. I just give up. I just give up in the end.
I think about it, there's certain lessons where in the register you just get so used to someone correcting the name. Like,
Literally.
it's so ingrained. You know it's gonna happen right before it happens. It's very weird. Okay. Guys, we're moving on to the UWE interview now. So here it is. Oh wait. Okay. Okay. UWE Equity is an award-winning program and it's aimed at providing personal and professional development opportunities for Black, Asian, and minority ethnic students. So here's an interview with 2 UWE students.
My name's Aian. I'm in school, buddy. Just joined uni, so I'm in my first year doing the foundation year for film studies. For the past 2 years, I've been doing cooking, but I realised it wasn't really my passion. The reason why I wanted to join Babbasa is it immediately seemed like a place where I could feel comfortable, learn more about people identifying with pain, and it just felt like a much more comfortable community to be a part of.
Hi, so my name is Dami. So full name is Oluwadamilola Okirin, but I go by Dami for short. And I am a master's student at UWE. So I'm currently doing a master's of research in biomedical sciences and applied sciences. And why I wanted to be on Babbasa TV is because I've seen what they've done with the BME community and how like involved they are in. And also when this collaboration with the equity team is just perfect because I've always wanted to do something like this, like be part of something this wonderful, but I haven't just had the opportunity to do that. So I'm really happy to. Okay, so in case you haven't noticed, I'm a Black woman. There's just so many stereotypes, and sometimes you don't even understand the impact that it's had on you, like the way you view life, the way you react to things.
Yeah.
And stereotypes for me have always been personal because I'm literally like walking around these preconceived notions about you. They have like these things they think, oh, this is what you represent, this is what you're going to do. They actually think they can predict your next step just because of how you look. It's like people hit you with some stereotypes and you're wondering like, what? Like, I didn't even know this was even possible for me.
Massively. I mean, first of all, I'd say, thank you for sharing. And like, there's so many things I could already like attach myself to your experience, and that given that I'm a first generation immigrant, I mean, I was born in the Philippines. I moved here quite young. I was about 3 years old. But with that in mind, I've already got the experience of being an immigrant, and that already comes with some stereotypes itself. You know, if we want to talk about people having preconceived notions of what you are, it's such a weird blanket statement that being an immigrant means you're from anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the stereotypes I've had to deal with is growing up in an Asian household, there was a lot of like academic pressure. There was a lot of my dad being an engineer, my mum being a nurse. So already there's, which path do I choose?
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I personally struggled with. And this was reflected through school where, as much as I love sports, I was terrible at basketball. I love rugby and I love badminton. And I think the issue I had with stereotypes growing up was it made me feel very boxed in. And whereas now what I'm learning to do is sort of accept that I don't have a box. I can be whoever I want to be.
Yeah, like to add on to what you said about that box, and what I've always noticed is people try to fit you in a particular box, and if you don't fit that box, they don't know what to do with you. They're like, okay, so what am I going to do with this person that thinks that they can be something different? I remember when I wanted to go to uni, I wanted to study architecture at first, and I remember like a lot of like family members, calling, trying to tell me, at first, the first argument they had was my parents are wasting money sending the girl to school. That was the first argument they had.
Yeah.
And when they came, my father with that, my dad was like, you can't tell me what to spend my money on. Like, this is my child. Like, whatever she wants to do, she can do. Like, we have no say on what she wants to do. They were like, she's going to get married anyway, so why are you spending money on her? Someone else is going to come and reap the fruit of your labor. And my dad is like, she's a human being. Like, this is literally a human being you're talking about. Whatever she wants to do, she can do it. And apart from that aspect, right, there's also the part of people saying, the architecture world is not for women, or don't do this, don't do that. Even now that I'm doing biomedical science, when I came back to do my master's, there's that stereotype of if you get too educated, like people will not want to be around you. If you get too, there's those stereotypes that when you think about them, you're like, what? Like, how do people think this way?
I think one of the strangest thing about stereotypes is, coming from what you're saying, it's one way or another, you're going to disappoint some people.
Yes.
You succeed as a stereotype, you sort of disappoint yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't succeed as stereotype, then you potentially fail your community or people who hold those stereotypes like close to their heart. In some sense, it's kind of empowering that stereotypes exist, because that way there's something to reach, to beat. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, but if they didn't, then that'd be fine, because we all should be living freely and just sort of, maybe we don't go to university, maybe we do.
Yeah.
And I think generally, like I said earlier, I think generally it's still a good journey, especially the both of us, just get to that level of acceptance.
Yeah, like to bounce off of what you said about like stereotypes pushing us to greatness. I want to share some things. I remember when I was in college, I'm going to talk about this, but I'm not going to mention names. But when I was in college, I did college in the UK here, and I remember the class I was in, I was the only black person, like literally the only black person, and it was all Asian. And the really funny thing is, like, I never felt weird around like my classmates or my classmates. Like, we were totally like, till now, every single one of us, we literally are still like the best of friends and everything, like, which is perfect. And I remember like when I came to college, I was fresh out of Nigeria. I was thinking, okay, there's this stereotype of Asians, like you mentioned, like, oh, they're so book smart and everything. And I remember I came to college and I started making friends, and I thought, oh my goodness, like these people are actually going to like so brilliant. They're going to, I know there's that Nigerian thing in me, like, oh, I have to do well, I have to defeat all the stereotypes of my father wasting his money and stuff like that. It was so much in my head. And I remember like when I met some of my friends, they used to like, oh, let's go. Don't you see that there is final on the mountain, like you have to get all A's and you're talking about having a drink? And I was literally having so much anxiety, like, oh my goodness, like, what should I do? Should I just keep studying? At the point I wasn't sleeping, I was like, I need to study. I was like, okay, I have to beat these people. And I was just wondering, like, after like a few months, I was like, what kind of stress was that? Like, why do I feel like I have to beat people just because I want to be successful? Like, you can have your own success on your own. Like, someone else succeeding at whatever they do doesn't undermine your success. So I had to realize that, because every single thing that was in my head was, okay, all these Asians, they're my friends, right? But when the grades come out, I want to be at the top. And you know what other thing that happened was, we had this lecturer and he literally was talking to another lecturer, and I was behind the door because I used to go to college. I was that crazy person. I would go to college by like 6 a.m. Lectures will start till 9. I'll go in by 6 so I can read. Do you know how crazy I was? I would literally go and read about the lecture. So if they're teaching us about a particular topic, I would go and read about it, so that when I get to the lecture, I'm not going to answer any questions or anything, but so that when they're talking about it, it's just like a refresher for me. Like, I just need to. I was that crazy person just because I was like, I can't fail. And I remember he was talking to someone, and he was talking about, because I was the only black person in my class, and he was telling someone that, Asians do better than Africans anyway. So he was like, because he saw me in the lecture, he saw me in the classroom, but the thing is that he didn't know that I was like, because he saw me from the window, so he didn't know that I was towards the door. And he was like, oh, Asians do better than Africans anyway, so why does she bother? And when I tell you, when he said that, it literally struck my spirit, because I was just wondering, like, I never, like, of course I knew that Asians did well and everything, but I've never heard someone actually say that Asians do better than just because I'm black. But then I just felt like, someone else's success shouldn't undermine yours. Like, you shouldn't let push their stereotypes on you.
With stereotypes it doesn't consider what goes on in the rest of your life. It's a massive standard which you feel like, oh, I have to achieve this, I have to do this. But then you sort of forget about yourself. You forget about, what about my education? What about my capacity? That's the issue with stereotypes, that it's built such a environment for us where even saying, I'm not really the stereotype you're thinking of, it's an exhausting conversation to have. Like, being a young Asian man, there's going to be people who, like, for example, music. People are going to assume what music I listen to. And I listen to a broad spectrum of music. I'll listen to most things.
Goodness.
And it's these little things that, and I think really one of the things, I think you brought up earlier, that even from people within the Asian community, some of them are even quite conservative about, like, myself. They say, like, I've had conversations with people like, are you really Asian? And I think that's what hurts the most. It's like, from people from my own community to question my Asianness, it hurts. It's like, I didn't ask to be born in the Philippines and immigrate to the UK. I've had to adjust. I've had to deal with it. But at the same time, I don't look at it as if they don't see my Asianness, because that is, again, Asia is people. So, we can't just, like, not all Filipinos are the same, not all Indian people are the same. There are billions of people there.
Yeah.
And again, like, to come back to the issue I find with stereotypes is, it's just an unnecessary box. Like, we're all individuals. Obviously, we have diversities and we share struggles and stuff, but it's just such a, how do I say this? It just stops progress. That's all it does. It just stops progress, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think any advice I could give to people wanting to, deal with stereotypes or how to sort of accept them is, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, no two people are the same. You can have similar features, you can have similar upbringings, but at the same time, you put two people in a room and they're going to look at the room differently. And it sounds so simple, but it is true. You're going to look at things from a different perspective. So I think the best advice I can give to someone is just breathe and just say you're going to make your own journey, and that's perfectly fine. You're going to make mistakes, but we all are, and we're all different. I think really that's the best advice I can give.
Totally. What I would say is just have at the back of your head, can you write it down and just be like, people are going to talk regardless. Because if you're living your life based on what people are going to say about you, you're just going to be stagnant and you're not going to achieve anything. It's like you're running a race and you're turning back to see who's coming behind you. You're going to stagger, you're going to fall, and your race is definitely like over. So you can't live your life based on the assumptions people have of you. People are going to think like that's what makes us dynamic human beings, the ability to have individual thoughts. So people are going to have opinions, people are going to have presumptions about you, but you literally need to live your best life. At the end of the day, you have just one life. Like we said in my language, like you have just one. If you die, that's it. Like you can't come back to it. That's it. So you can't live your life being scared or live your life, trying to fit into a box. When you have just one, why not live it the best way that you can and leave a mark, leave an imprint. When you're gone, let people know that okay, this person actually came and person lives his best life. Of course, live your best life with reason. Don't go crazy too much, but just live your best life because people are going to talk regardless. So yeah, that would be my advice.
That's very fair.
I love that.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick up on
The Asian comment, where the teacher addressing how because she was African, she will not get the top grades in that class against other Asian people. Kind of startled me.
that was crazy.
Like I do know the statistics be saying that Asians are getting phenomenal grades there, but the way that the teacher is undermining her skills because of her ethnicity.
I know intelligence. It's crazy.
It's crazy because if you think about it, she just happened to hear that.
Yeah.
The teacher was saying that, so it makes you think.
What is he saying when you're like
when no one's around? What are you saying? For real, I picked up on that. It was horrible.
I think he said something about being in a box, like stereotypes, like put you in a box.
Yeah.
And do you ever feel like you sometimes have to dilute yourself because you don't want other people to think that you don't want to feed into a stereotype.
Yeah.
So like if I meet someone, I can't be loud. I can't be.
Yeah, that's
I can't express myself in front of certain people. I have to fall back. Yeah, because I feel like they're gonna. She's so defensive when she's aggressive, but they're taking my passion for aggression to them.
Yeah.
There's a misconception. It's a communication skills not the best. There's a misconception. Like I'm just expressing myself and being
How about what you're saying about his community kind of shutting him out?
Yeah, I've seen this so much.
Like they hang on to the stereotype like how Asian are you? What do you think about that?
I've seen this in the black community so much. Like people saying, "Oh, that girl's whitewashed because she talks like this." Like people just saying, like, "Oh, I'm not black enough." What is even being black? Like,
it's literally your color, bro.
I'm not black because
Relax.
I talk a certain way, or she dresses like that. She hangs with those people, so she's whitewashed. Like, what?
It's because they hang on to the stereotype.
Yeah.
Because there's a way if you're from your certain complexion, like it's weird.
You have to dress a certain way, talk a certain way,
Very
your hair a certain way. But yeah.
I remember hearing that a lot, like in year 7 times when I used to watch certain things on YouTube. Yeah, I remember hearing that all the time, like, "Oh, you're tiny and white." Like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm still black. I look in the mirror, I'm a black person. Like, personality has nothing to do with your complexion.
Yeah, I actually got that from white peers in school. You're not black.
What?
A white peer?
Yeah. Like, I was confused. I wasn't confused. I knew what they were hinting at. They were thinking about like how I speak or my articulation.
Yeah.
They associate blackness with being uneducated.
Mm.
So because of the way I spoke, they would think, oh, he's very white. And what do we associate whiteness with? Oh, high class, or very well spoken, or something along those lines. I'm just like, the same people that want to destroy these stereotypes are the same ones perpetuating sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
very weird to me
Yeah.
because when they would tell me like you sound white or you're very whitewashed, ultimately I live in a white area. I went to a white school, so naturally I'm going to adapt more to them. You know how some people's characters just you feed into it sometimes. You copy their catchphrase or something on the side. Yeah, you know. So when they would say that to me, I was kind of like confused because them as white people, I didn't understand why they would say that themselves. You sound white. Or, like, what is that?
I do talk different ways depending on the person I'm talking
Yeah,
to.
go to the
Like, I have like 3 different voices.
I have my professional voice, I have my home voice.
Like I have my school voice, my home voice, my friend, my mom and dad voice.
You have your voice for everything. It's because you know how far you can step.
If I meet someone, like if I go into a room where no one looks like me, I'm not going to talk to them like I talk to my friends. They're like,
exactly.
they're gonna, literally. I feel like I have to be different and change myself, which is sad. I shouldn't.
Exactly.
I should be myself. Like
it looks like diluted when you're saying.
literally, yeah. Like,
Literally.
it's crazy. I feel like I'm gonna stop being that because
just be yourself.
Be myself.
And if people don't like it, that's their
their
problem.
problem. That's their problem.
Okay, so last question, guys. How can you protect young people from stereotypes?
this is a hard question.
I don't know, to be honest, because I always say this, like, there's no actual way of finding a solution, to be honest. I think there's the system, of course, we could try like taking that down.
People need to stop feeding into the stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes down to the society.
Yeah.
We make society, so it's us that has to make that change.
I guess another thing is like the demotivation part. Like if your teacher is being stereotypical, like stereotyping you, then you shouldn't be. Like I, as a young person, like growing up when I was like 11, 12 in secondary school, I found it quite demotivating. But I feel like we need to make young people know it's like okay, like they were saying, like pushing past your stereotype,
right?
Like saying I'm not going to be put in a box. I'm going to step out of the box and succeed. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But you think in like schools as well, they should really push that, like because you know like how a lot of stereotyping is done in schools by teachers.
Yeah.
They should be doing a lot to educate not just the teachers, most definitely the teachers, but also the students about stereotypes that can affect people.
Yeah, they should.
And getting to know people and not base people for stereotyping.
Yeah.
So
down to the household as well. The first primary socialization. I just think that when kids come into school, they also need to get influenced in a way that is positive. If they're hearing these stereotypes from a grown-up that is a teacher, it's like, why are these teachers employed in the first place? And then we have kids that would report it.
For real.
You know?
There needs to be a background check.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they say personality check?
Yeah, they need to do a personality test with teacher.
Exactly. Like there's certain people out there.
Like racial. Oh yeah.
That should be a thing.
Yeah, there is racial bias test, and
really,
and it's easier if you're racially biased. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that needs to be done on every teacher.
But yeah, there's certain people in power that this needs to be taken out of this scenario, But then we have kids that just go for it because they want to do, they're not fully.
So, what do you think about that? Actually, like, if someone is experiencing stereotypes, like, how would they go about it?
Well, you think stereotypes are racism, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it can be a form of racism. So you can report it to your teacher.
It goes under racism.
I guess talk to your parents about it.
Because some people would think in that situation they should just, let it slide or try and hide it. Like, not me though, but some people they really be like thinking the best option. They don't want to cause conflict. They think they're causing a conflict.
You don't cause conflict because
conflict already happened. Just at this point, you just have to.
Yeah, the conflict has happened.
You gotta fight back.
You
can fight back.
Literally, you gotta tell them that's unacceptable, so they don't do it to other people in the future.
Exactly.
So, guys, for the final question, do you ever feel like you are stereotyping other people?
Of course, as a human being, I guess I always stereotype. But it's a thing where do you like? Of course, if I see someone, I'm gonna like a perception of them, 100%. But I never say, okay, what my brain says. I'm gonna actually, they're individual. I get to the for them.
Yeah.
I don't use my stereotype for the rest of the time I know them. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're this. No,
Right.
they're individual.
I remember when you asked me that question in the interview. I said no, right?
Mm.
And I had a little bit of a deeper thought. I was like, do I do this? And I do it from time to time. But like you said, it's never to a scale where it's like, okay, this is what you are in my head, so I
Yeah.
don't think that's really who you are.
Mm.
It's like all down to being an individual, right?
Mm.
So I don't think,
You have eyes.
Right, yeah. Like ultimately, yeah, we do it as human beings, but there are some certain people that would really take it to the next level of properly really stereotyping.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it, though. Yeah.
Guys, do you feel like it's a generational thing as well? Like older people are more pushing these stereotypes forward, or do you feel like it's just throughout all generations?
Throughout all generations, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like it is, yeah.
Well, it goes down generation.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, all around.
Ooh, but do you remember like the things in history repeats itself?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the human zoos and then the sexualization of black women in like the media, like it's like a cycle, I think. And I feel like I don't think stereotypes are really gonna end at all.
Yeah. I don't think, because like I said, I think it all comes down to us. But as us, there's 8 billion people in this world.
Yeah.
Are we all going to do it? Are we all going to make that happen? There's some people that won't.
Yeah.
There's some people that will, but for the most part, the people that will is a small percentage, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll take a long time.
Yeah.
But guess what? We're coming to the end, guys. It's the end of the show. It's really good to see Babbasa. So thank you so much, UWE. Unfortunately, the video for our interview with Dami and Aian did not work. So the audio will be available later. So thanks so much again to UWE Equity for the work. And guys, everyone watching, please join us on Blackboard after this. You guys can ask questions, share your opinions. We're ready to hear it. I'd like to say thank you all, and we're going to see you again in 2 weeks. So make sure you're here again in 2 weeks. Bye.